Hello, my friends. Welcome back. It's the end of year one in our experiment. And I just want to say thank you to all of you that left so many comments saying you're excited this series is back. I mean, it was a ton. It was a whole ton. So, as a content creator, that makes you feel real good. You know what else makes you feel real good? People hitting the like button, because it really does help the series out and the channel. So at the time I'm recording this, there are about 500 views on the initial episode and about 64 likes. So if you enjoyed that and you've come back for more, make sure you go back and hit that like button. If you're new around here because you found this series through your YouTube recommendations or something like that, hit that subscribe button. Now, my friends, let's go take a look at our 10 kids. How have they progressed? The other thing is, in the comment section of the last episode, it looks like Greg, Liam, and Joe Bridgeman are the picks of the community as to who you think is going to either have the highest potential or the best career, or both. I think Greg actually won out by a nose, but it was pretty close. So, because I had some people say like, well, this person, or this person. It's like, well, that's 30% of the 10. But I'm curious, at the end of every episode, I want you to kind of reassess, like, what are you thinking? Is it important if they make a move, in 2 seasons or 3 seasons, something like that? What about their potential ability at the end of the episode, and so on and so forth? So let's go take a look. Oh, and one more thing. A shout out to Eduardo Valente, who's in our Discord, which you should join. It's a great community. The link is in the description as well for that. Eduardo, the last time we did this, set up a Google spreadsheet where he tracked all of the attribute changes. Like, he pauses on each player and does every single attribute that you can see, their wage, their team, and all that kind of stuff. So shout out to Eduardo. Thanks for doing that. Now let's go take a look at our players. All right, this is the end of year one, so we're not anticipating any of these kids moving on, but we can see how they're developing. So Liam, obviously now 17, still valued at 500 grand. I've got the spreadsheet Eduardo had pulled up on my separate monitor here. Still at 500 grand. He's still 6'2", hasn't grown any. However, he's added 7 pounds. He's up to 167 pounds. Congrats, mate. Still on a regular starter contract. It says he's flattered by the interest being shown in him. Let's see who it is. Oh, dear. 16 clubs. Almeria. Okay, so I'm not going to name all the teams. 1, because I'm going to say them all wrong, and 2, because there's a bunch of them. So some La Liga, Portuguese Premier League, Ligue 2, Belgian Pro League, couple of Spanish second division teams. My goodness, all interested in a transfer. So he's been noticed already. I'm just going to see if there's any significant changes that I can tell at a quick glance in his attributes. His marking is still a 10, passing is 14, tackling is still 16, technique still 16. None of those have changed. Heading is still 12. I don't see any changes, to be honest. Let's look at the physicals. Maybe he grew a little bit, right? We talked about he added on some pounds here. Oh no, his pace has actually gone down. His pace was a 12 when we got started, and his stamina was a 12. So his pace has gone down, but his stamina's gone up. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. Aggression, okay, all that's still the same. I believe concentration has gone up from a 12 to a 13. His determination has dropped. That is not great. So he started, again, I set all of these to have 12 determination, but sometimes it changes, once they get loaded into the database. So he was a 6 and he's down to a 5, which is not great. Positioning has gone up from a 16 to a 17, and his work rate has gone from an 11 to a 12. So, minor improvement, but let's look at the results. 15 appearances in the league. Now, we don't have the league that Alto Paraguay is in loaded, obviously, but he has 2 assists, a player of the match on a 7-2-7, 4 appearances, it looks like, in the cup on a 7-2-5. So that's why he's getting noticed. That up-and-coming young Paraguayan talent, Liam Flanagan. It's definitely a Paraguayan name. Yeah, clearly. I said they wouldn't have moved, but Joe Bridgeman has gone to Spartak Moscow. He was a star player at Arktika Yakutsk, okay, on 6 grand a week, is on 6.75 grand a week, and gone from a star player in the, what was it, the 4th division, 3rd division in Russia, somewhere down there, to a breakthrough prospect with the same contract end date. He's grown an inch. He was 5'8", he's 5'9", and he's put on 4 pounds. He's worth 350 grand. He was at 205. He didn't make an appearance. Did he just get here? When did he sign the contract? February. Okay. So he made 24 starts on a 7.0, 9 cup starts on a 7.16, got notice. Spartak comes in, picks him up, and he made one, friendly start for the backup squad, the reserve squad, or maybe it's the youth squad that plays in the first division. So he's moved up in divisions, but that is really interesting. Already making a move. That was really unexpected here. All right, I've looked at the spreadsheet, so we're not sitting here just staring at this going like, which attributes changed? Nothing really changed on the technical. The only thing I can catch on the mental is his flair went up from a 5 to a 6. On the physical side, though, acceleration up 1, agility up 1, jumping reach up 1, pace up 1, and that's it. So he grew an inch, put on 4 pounds, developed physically, got a move to a bigger club, and they paid for him, 150 grand. So like, we've got our first transfer. What is that? 7 months in, something like that. 8 months in. That's pretty surprising to me. Remember when I said I didn't think anybody was going to move because it was the first episode, right? And like, it's the end of year 1. I thought, they're just going to have developed a little bit. We'll see a little attribute change, stuff like that. No. Enjoy that, my friends. That's a little homemade latte action. Josh Payne has gone to Pescara. Okay, if you're not familiar, Serie B. Okay, so he's gone from Poland to Italy. How did that move happen? For a whopping 5.5 grand, my friends. Big money move. Big money. Looks like it was at the end of the season. Okay, April of 2021. Okay, so just happened. He didn't make an appearance for Prozovianka, and yet they've sold him. Interesting. Okay. He was on €30 a week. He's got a bit of a raise up to 1.6k. He was valued at 110. He's now valued at 235 just by being in Serie B. Cultured attacking midfielder. I think that was he was already considered that, which is kind of interesting. And he's already wanted. He just got here by Palermo on loan. Okay, isn't that what Palermo? I feel like in the Reggio Adace save, I got a lot of Palermo interest from players. Okay, also in Serie B. Well, that's interesting that they've got an interest in loaning him in the same division. I'd like to see if he gets a game. He got a transfer without making a single appearance. That's really interesting. Expects to play in the game against Cremonese as he's concerned about the amount of first-team football he has been playing because he's on a squad player contract. Are they still playing? Oh, no, that's the first game of the season. Okay, so he's expecting to play now. That's so interesting. And I meant to say this at the beginning. If there's stuff that I don't show that you want to see, leave a comment. I can't catch all of them, but I'll try and go back and either add it to the start of next episode or I'll reply in the comments to you. So I'm sure there's going to be stuff like, oh, like, did he have any injuries or something? Like, that's what I'm thinking with Josh, but I may not do that on every single player. So no injuries here. His only milestones. What? He was the under-18s captain, and then he was the vice captain, but didn't make an appearance and then got sold. Maybe because it's such a low league that, like, Football Manager doesn't process that he was playing. That's just really, really, really odd, honestly. And he's gone from being a future prospect in Poland to a squad player. All right, he's grown an inch, and he's put on 11 pounds. He's beefed up. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let me take a look at his other attributes here. Okay, interesting. His dribbling has gone up by 1. His heading has gone up by 1. His penalty taking has gone down by 1. That's kind of, I don't know, interesting. His composure's gone up from a 15 to a 16. Everything else looks to be pretty much the same on the mental side. Off the ball's up to 16 from 15, so that's a 1 point increase there. And his work rate is still the same. Yeah, physically, he's more agile. He was an 8, now he's a 9. His jumping reach has gone up 2. That's our first double-digit increase. Maybe it's because he grew. He went from a 7 to a 9. And his stamina has gone from an 11 to a 12, and his strength has gone from a 6 to a 7. So he's developing physically as he goes. That's just, I was really not expecting anybody to have moved in the first season. Were you? Let me know in the comments. The trend continues, my friends. Brian McGee has gone to Colo Colo from Juventud Renka. He was on 0 a week. He's on 550 a week. He's worth 205 grand. That's an increase of 35 grand. He was on one. He was worth 170. Contract end date is still the same, and he left on a free. So he must have been at the level like Juventud being amateur team. It was just like, yeah, we can't keep you from going, so off you go. Again, doesn't show any appearances for him. We'll have to see when he signed the contract. So he's made a continental substitution and no league appearances and no cup appearances. Okay, that's interesting. And he's in the Colo Colo under-19s. He signed the contract in April. So a year, like on his... Okay, those are all their birthdays, right? So on his 17th birthday, he signed the contract to leave. 550 a week. Okay. Copa Libertadores. Now, I'm curious. That substitute appearance... Oh dear. Is there... Let's go find out. Is there a way I can see his form? Yes. Yes, there is. Let's go to... Nope. Colo Colo. Left back in the 5th game of the Copa Libertadores. On in the 71st minute. Gave him a 6.9. I'm just kind of curious, like, how does that happen, right? Like... 5th game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Okay, he wasn't there maybe for this game. Okay, so it was the last group stage game, and no, they needed to win that to make sure they kept their lead there. So I was thinking, like, were they playing like the bottom of the group, and it was like, it's fine, or maybe at that point in the game they knew they had already qualified, or. I don't know. It was a draw. That's just an interesting thing that he's already gotten a continental appearance, and hasn't made a league appearance. Like, what a way to make your debut, right? Let's take a look at his attributes. Okay, we have lots of technical changes. All these by one, do we call them points? One attribute that has gone up is, oh shoot, I just lost it. It was first touch, heading, long throws, passing, and technique have all gone up 1. So that's pretty significant. You also, I didn't notice this at first, he's got this center back thing that's appeared. Now that makes sense. He's 6'3", so that makes him more versatile, right? Like, good for him, but is he going to end up being a left-footed center back, right? Or is he going to be a left back? Kind of depends on that crossing and dribbling, I would guess. If that doesn't really develop, if he can't cross or dribble or pass or anything like that, then maybe he ends up stuck at center back. Not stuck, but that's where he ends up going. His anticipation's gone up 1. His composure has gone up 1. Concentration up 1. Decisions and determination are the same. Let's just look here. Positioning has gone up by 1. And vision. Okay. Physically, he's got acceleration, agility, balance, all up by 1. His pace has increased by 1, his stamina by 1, and his strength by 1. So that's a lot, to me, feels like a lot of development. I'm just really interested that this guy comes in at 17 and he makes his debut in like the last group stage game that they drew. So they were on 9 points and they ended up with 10 points. And the other team had 8 points. So you would think like they had to get a result there. So it's not like a fluke thing that he came on. I wonder if there was like an injury. Let's take a look. He has a bruised ankle, nothing crazy there. I just wonder if he was the backup left back at the moment. Did they have somebody come out for injury? Can we see that? Can we see that? Ooh, maybe that's what it was. When did it happen? 4 weeks ago? Why can't I see? 2 to 4 months. When he's going to be out. He's been out for 4 weeks. It's July 1st, so that's the end of June, or the beginning of June, I should say. This might be too much time. No, he would have been there theoretically. So I don't know. That probably spent too much time on Brian, but I'm just kind of like, huh? How did that happen? What are your thoughts? All right, next up we got Gordon Bell, still at FC Vorkuta in Canada. He is wanted though. Who's he wanted by? FC Edmonton, who are in the Canadian Premier League. Yes, I knew that. Okay, so he's played 16. Okay, is this the amateur level where you only play 16 games a year? I think we've had this happen before with another Canadian prospect, so hopefully we haven't trapped you here, Gordon. I know he moves at least once, because we checked, but I don't know where that's to. Maybe it's to another Canadian club. 16 appearances in the first calendar year season. I guess it's like January to December, with 6 goals on a 7-3-1. Not bad. This season, 16 appearances, 3 goals, 8 assists. Or maybe we're halfway through the season. Maybe that's what it is. We don't have the schedule. Why am I looking at that? On a 7-3-9. He's still 5'4" and 125 pounds. I think he put on a little bit of weight. Yet 4 whole pounds. His corners have gone up by 1. His finishing has gone down by 1. Not ideal. No, that's all the same. His penalty taking has gone up. So his corners and his penalty taking have increased, and his finishing has gone down. Okay, he's 5'4". You put him on he gets corner taking, right? Like, you don't put him in the box. You kick it in, man. Penalty taking, sure. Finishing, we're not gonna put you up in the box a lot. You're 5'4". Is he gonna be the Leo Messi of Canada? Maybe. I'm wondering if his move was to FC Edmonton. I mean, you get all kinds of stuff where they're wanted and then it disappears. But it's not necessarily a bad thing that he hasn't moved, right? Like, just because those other players did. You just, we want to see some development here, right? The physicals are pretty much the same. His stamina's gone up by 1. His strength has gone up by 1 to a whopping 2. Get in, Gordon. Get in. His concentration has gone down. His flair has gone down by all these by 1. I'll call it out if it's more than 1. Yeah, and his work rate's gone up by 1. So, he's content. You kind of want him to be like, mate, let's go. Let's push on. 5 under 20 caps, though, with 2 goals for Canada. Surely that gets him some sort of recognition, right? Like, some blogger is talking about him in Canada. But, hey, look at this guy. He's got 5 caps, 2 goals. Let's go. All right, next up we got Mr. Kev at DV7 Soccer. Yes, and the Dominican Republic still there. He's wanted, though. He's been... Oh, wow. This is good. I think this is good, because I was a little worried, like when you start, in a league that is not playable, you kind of go like, oh, same thing with Gordon. Like, the fact that there are clubs interested in it is a good sign. I'm surprised that there's so many clubs in Europe that are scouting the Dominican Republic. That's fantastic. Okay. Last calendar season, 23 starts, 8 goals, 6 assists on a 7-3-3. This season thus far, 14 starts and a sub, 9 goals, 4 assists on a 7-8-9. He is lighting it up. Cup competition, not so much. A 6.5 and 3 whole starts. That's less than ideal, really. But he's lighting the league up. So that's something, right? He's gained a whole 7 pounds. I don't know why I just think it's interesting to watch players, like, going from 16 to 17. You're going to put on some weight and you might grow. So, like, that just seems like we won't do that every single season. Like, when they're 28, I'm not going to be looking at their weight gain and loss. But I just think it's kind of interesting in this context. All right, his corners, long shots, and tackling have gone up by 1. His free kick taking has gone up by 2. And his leadership, balance... I feel like there was one more when I was looking here real quick. And stamina have all gone up by 1. So developed a little bit. Still just a striker. Hasn't picked up any attacking mid, experience. Is now capped at the under 23 level. We'll have to see. Do you think he's going to make a move this season? I mean, because his contract, right, at the end of the year, he'll have a year left. So they'll kind of have to make a decision as to what they're going to do. That'll be interesting to see. All right, Chris Carpenter is still in Nepal. He's still at Kathmandu Club. So that's a thing. He's still on 0 a week. He's still worth exactly 29 grand. Uh-oh. That's not good. Has he developed at all? He gained 7 pounds. Get in, mate. He hasn't grown any inches. He's wanted, though. That's, again, these are good things. Again, I'm surprised there's not like a Chinese club or an Australian club or a South Korean club, you know, that might be more heavily invested in scouting Nepal than, say, France. Like, I don't know. That's really interesting. But a Belgian, a Portuguese, and a French team all interested in him. Okay. Let's take a look at his attributes here. The technicals have gone, like, this is our first pretty significant step back, I think. Just because there's so many. Like, not that it's not like we've had a 5-point swing or something like that. But there's a 1-point drop. His crossing has gone down by 1. His free kick taking has gone down by 1. His long shots, his long throws, yep, his marking, all down by 1. So, I mean, maybe it's at that level, right? He's not developing. I'm guessing the training facilities aren't exactly fantastic. 34 starts, 6 goals, 8 assists on a 7.54. So he's lighting up the league. But that you know, the technicals going down, you know, crossing kind of important if you're going to be an attacking left winger, right? So that's not ideal, really. Let's take a look at the other ones here. I'm just checking my chart. They all look about the same from the mental standpoint. Positioning has gone up. No, positioning's gone down too, from a 7 to a 6. I read that wrong. Ooh, that's not good. We got to get him out of there. Everything else is the same. Still either footed, but maybe he can get a move and then he can, like, you know, rescue that and start developing again. Maybe. We have a transfer in progress, my friends. Greg Baxter, or Baxter Greg, because he's born in Macau, has a transfer coming up at the end of the season to join FC Nizhny Novgorod, which is surely a Russian team. Yes, Russian Premier League. Taking the big step up. Okay, joining. Does it say for how much? On a free. Okay. Interesting. He's up 4 pounds. He's still a defensive midfielder. Value is still the same. Nothing from there has changed. His crossing has gone down by 1. His finishing has gone down by 1. His long shots have gone down by 1. Marking is the same, which is important for a DM. Passing is still the same, so that's all right. Vision and technique are all the same, so it's not all terrible. Just not a ton of increases either. Okay, aggression is good. Composure has gone down by 1. Not a lot of development going on in these more obscure leagues, to be completely honest with you. Off the ball, down by 1, from a 7 to a 6. Those are all the same. His acceleration has gone down by 1. His balance has gone down by 1. His natural fitness is the same. Okay, that's the same. Oh, it's all the same or backwards movements. But he does have like, that's a huge move. Like, getting into the Russian Premier League, they're going to have facilities. They're going to be able to, you know, get him trained. He'll get more time on the pitch, or like at least inside the database in a meaningful competition. 10 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 players of the match on a 7-1-8, plus 4 cup appearances with 2 goals on a 7-2-8. No injuries that I can find. Do they only have a 10 game season? I don't know. And then like a cup, maybe? So maybe that also, right? If he joined last April and we started the save in July, this time last year, and he only had 10 appearances in 6, and then this season he's got 10 in the league and 4 in the cup. Does that mean like the league season isn't very long and there's a cup season and that maybe that's not very long, which would impact his ability to develop? I'm not very familiar with that, you know, level of the footballing universe, so maybe somebody can leave some insights in the comments. Another transfer in progress. A year from now, he's joining Braga. Like, the one in Portugal. What? for 10.5 grand. Get in. Get in. Okay. So that's good news. All right. And yes, I loved all the comments because apparently the name of this team that he plays for, Leones Vegetarianos. Were they professional status last time? I don't remember. Means vegetarian lions, which is like, it sounds like they just have like, hey, let's do a funny name. And here we are. We're all getting to enjoy the vegetarian lions, which, that's hilarious. Got the move coming up. 15 appearances, 5 goals, 4 assists, 7.31, 1 cup appearance on a 7.7. So he's performing at the level he needs to perform at. No international appearances or anything like that. Let's take a look at these attributes now. Wow, this is a lot of development. Corners from a 9 to a 10. Crossing from a 13 to a 14. Dribbling from a 14 to a 15. First touch from 14 to a 15. So lots of increases of 1, right? Free kick taking is up by 1. Nope, that's still the same. Let's see. Passing is up by 1 from a 14 to a 15, so he's 1 away from a bright green number that we can notice next time maybe. Penalty taking has gone up by 1, and technique. So that's a lot of really good technical development in an obscure league playing for the Vegetarian Lions. So that's fantastic. Anticipation is up by 1. Composure is up by 1. Concentration is up by 1. Goodness me, decisions. Leadership from a 2 to a 3. That's a 50% increase, my friends. That's how you spin that. Off the ball from 12 to a 13. Positioning from a 5 to a 6. Teamwork from a 9 to a 10. Vision from a 10 to an 11. Wow. So, I mean, I didn't count all of those, but what is that? 10 at least? It feels like 10 attributes that have gone up by 1. Acceleration and agility have increased by 1. Balance by 1. And pace by 1. Stamina by 1, strength by 1. That's like 15, 16, 17 attributes that have all increased by 1. And he's got a move coming up to an actual league that is going to be inside of Football Manager. That's massive. Value hasn't changed. None of that stuff has changed. He's gone up to a whole 2 pounds. Hasn't gotten any taller, so, But that's a lot of really good development. What are your thoughts on Peter? I'm pretty excited about Peter. Let's go, Peter. Come on, son. Let's go. Yes. Another move. Andrew Wood, last but not least, he's joining FCSB in the Casa Liga 1 in Romania. I mean, at least it's a league that we have loaded. It's getting him out of an obscure league. He's going to the Romanian... Is he already in the Romanian First League? Wait a minute. Oh, no. Sorry. That's saying that they're in the Romanian First League. Like, when you're moving quick, you miss these things. They got him on a free. Okay, so he joins at the end of this upcoming season, or by the time the second end of year 2 rolls around, he will have been there for 2 weeks. So okay, 22 starts, 8 goals, 2 assists on a 7.21, and then this season 12 goals. Ooh, all right, son, get in. 12 goals and 15 appearances, 4 goals and 4 cup starts, and 2 assists in each of those in the league and the cup to add on to it on a 7.71 and a 7.88. My goodness. In Fuego, he's on fire. If you don't know, that's Sports Center from like when I was growing up. So, has picked up, some of that attacking mid-center, so that 10 role, right? That's kind of interesting. Has gained 4 whole pounds. Get in. It's worth the same amount, so that hasn't changed. But that is a ton of goals. I mean, I understand it's a different level, but like, I can understand why he got noticed. At least the Romanian league is scouting. What was it? What was the name of the league? SCP, the GB Division 2. That's kind of impressive, to be honest with you. Now let's look at his development. Has he developed at all? Okay, this is really interesting. Again, I know it's a lower, obscure level that he's dominating, but he's no attribute changes. They're all the same. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Huh. I'm genuinely surprised by that. Any injuries to speak of? Nope. No international appearances. I mean, if I was the under 18 manager, maybe you call up the guy that's got 12 goals in any league in 15 appearances. Scout him, maybe. Well, now I was going back. I was looking at because I was going to check the injury history. So Liam Flanagan does have some knocks. They're all slight, like little itty bitty things, but does have some listed. Joe Bridgeman here has got kind of a couple. I mean, he's got 5. 2 of the minor severity. Again, nothing crazy, but that's, something to kind of keep our eyes on. That's the short list here. Let's go take a look at Pekka. Does he still have them all? Because I'm not going to look at all of them individually to see if they're still under his agency. But here we are. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All 10 are still his clients. I guess I could have just looked right there. I knew that. But I mean, how many moves do we have here? We got. Okay, Bridgman's already moved, so that's 1. Josh Payne's already moved, that's 2. Brian McGee, 3. And then we've got Greg Baxter, Peter Doyle, and Andrew Wood that have transfers. So 6 of the 10 have either transferred or have one set up for the end of the upcoming season. That is a lot more than I thought there would be at this point, considering this is the end of year 1. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are there. If we go with the wages here, we still have Joe at the top making $67.50 a week. And he also has the highest value because now he's moved to Spartak Moscow. But we got some other, 6-figure valuations. And then it kind of drops off, if you look at it that way. The highest value is Liam, actually, even though he hasn't moved. So that's kind of interesting, too. So I guess we're going to stop it here. Obviously, it's the end of year 1. What are your thoughts on all those moves? And has your opinion changed about who is or isn't the highest potential ability, the trajectory of their careers now? You can see obviously here as well, Josh Payne has picked up some central mid roles and some left wing roles. So that's the only other addition besides Andrew Wood and Brian McGee picking up those other experiences. And again, if you're enjoying this series and you're new, subscribe. Even if you're not new, everybody hit that like button. It really does help the series out. And again, if you didn't like the last episode, if you go click through that, hit the like button. That really does help me and the channel out so I can keep producing content like this. If you're enjoying this, maybe you get a couple episodes in from now and you're like, man, I really am enjoying this type of content. You can support me financially in a multitude of ways. Those are all listed in the description, but a couple of them, you can buy stuff through my Humble Bundle link. I've got a link to Football Manager in case you don't have the 2021 version. You can go buy it through that link. Or you can support me directly with a YouTube membership or a Patreon membership. Again, those links are in the description below. At the end of the day, hit the like button and subscribe. That really does help. And leave your comments. And we'll see you next time for the end of year 2.